This situation has completely turned on its head after a couple years now of his name being floated around in trade discussions and his name also being used as a potential salary. Kelly Oubre has become a integral part to the Philadelphia 76ers roster organization, and I don't think it's just this year and this season, but going forward as well. Kelly Oubre, a free agent after this season, I think he's played really well and has been a key part to the Sixers' success in the early going. And I think even when you look back to last year and the down year that it was for the entire organization from top to bottom, I think Kelly Oubre had an argument to maybe be the most consistent player for the 76ers organization last year. He's been a rock solid, steady guy for this team and this organization over the past 2 seasons now. I think the Sixers and Daryl Morey are in a situation where they can't let him walk out the door this offseason. Now, what does he demand on the open market? Does he want to come back to the Sixers in the role that he is in right now? That remains to be seen. A lot of ball remains to be seen. But I think even when you're looking at the team and just this season alone, you can't cut his minutes. This is a guy that needs to be on the floor and playing starter minutes night in and night out. Maybe he does come off the bench when Paul George eventually returns and his minutes are reduced. But this is still a guy that could be in your closing lineups, could be, a key piece in the fourth quarter down the stretch. Kelly Oubre and what he brings to the table on a nightly basis with his energy, with his hustle, I don't think gets enough credit from Sixers fans. And I know he can be a bit of a polarizing player. He can be a little bit an erratic guy. Some people don't love his defense, but the energy, the hustle, the effort that he brings on a night in, night out basis, and the consistency that he does it with, I think is an integral part to this team, especially with the youth around him. And Kelly Oubre is still a youngish player, 29 years old. I know he's probably headed towards the back half of his career, but this isn't a guy that's in his mid-30s, 29 years old, still has a few good years of high-level basketball, I think, in him. If the Sixers are able to kind of negotiate a 2-3 year deal this offseason and find a way to fit him into their cap space for going forward, I think that's a slam dunk move that the Sixers can make with Daryl Morey. So looking at the team for this year as well and what Kelly Oubre's been able to do, I really am one of his biggest fans and one of his biggest supporters. I think what he brings to the table, it can't really be quantified in the box score some nights, but he's putting up some really good numbers, some of the best numbers of his career this season. When you look at his numbers this year through 10 games, 18.6 points per game, 5.3 rebounds, 1.5 assists. He's never going to be much of a playmaker, but he's a guy, 1 block, 1 steal. He shows effort on the defensive end. He's not the best defender, but the hustle and the energy, that's always there. That's something that you can take for. And he's been the most efficient that we've ever seen from him in his career. 51.1% from the field and 38% from three. You look at those numbers, 44 for his career and 32.6% from three. He's playing really well, and he's doing it in a contract year, which I'm sure he's happy about and his agent's happy about. And I think these numbers will definitely go down once Paul George returns to the lineup, once he's back in the mix for sure, because I think his minutes are going to get cut. But still, the consistency that he's displaying on a night in, night out basis, like you can just look at the box scores here. He's putting up pretty consistent numbers every night, and he's been an integral part to the success of this team in the early going. Like, we've had some up and down games. The third quarter obviously has been one of the biggest blunders, if not the biggest blunder for this team so far. But behind Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe, I don't know if you can make an argument for any Sixer that has been better this year than Kelly Oubre. That includes Joel Embiid. You can throw Quentin Grimes in there. Trendon Watford was awesome the other night in triple-double, but he's done it a little bit of a shorter sample size. When you look at Kelly Oubre and his numbers and his consistency, the win over the Raptors on Saturday, 19 points, 4 rebounds, 2 blocks, that is the stat line that he's capable of putting up. And do I expect him to keep up with this 18.6 points per game the rest of the season? No. I probably expect him to be more down towards that 11-12 marker, maybe hovering around that career average of 13 points a night. But with what he can do and just his mindset and mentality for this team, I think it's an asset that the Sixers kind of era in the Embiid era has really lacked. Like, you brought in a guy like a PJ Tucker to be that tough guy, the energy guy, one of the no-nonsense type people. Kelly Oubre brings that vibe, brings that aura to this team as well. So I think going forward, it's a slam dunk to try and bring him back. When you look at his current contract, 2 years, $16 million basically is what he was on. He opted into that player option where I thought there was a good chance that he opted out, but I think he's really bought into his role here. And I think he also put himself in a position where he's like, earlier in his career, you looked at Kelly Oubre and he could have a 25, a 30-point night, but he was doing that for losing teams. He was doing that for the Charlotte Hornets. I think he really kind of matured and grew and accepted this kind of new role of an energy guy, of a hustle guy, and for a team that has a lot of young guards as well, kind of take some of these guys under his wing. If you're able to get him anywhere near this kind of current deal, if you're able to get him like a 3-year $24 million or 3-year $28 million, I think that's a slam dunk move that the Sixers should use to bring him back. Now, is that going to be possible? He could have a great year, career season, and find his way on the outside looking in, and find himself getting paid more elsewhere. But if the Sixers are able to have a successful season this year, and with the maturity and the growth that I think Kelly Oubre has shown, I think it would be a thing that he wants to come back to this. He wants to be that type of player. He wants to be a winning basketball player for the 76ers organization, and I think that's one of the biggest things that we'll go into, obviously, this decision, and obviously there's a lot of basketball to be played, but I think as of right now, it's a situation where the Sixers have to bring him back, and they shouldn't be letting him walk out this door at all. I think at the end of the day, if he walks out of the door, that's going to be a mistake on Daryl Morey's part, not one of his best moves of his tenure. But at the same time, our guy Sean Bernard hits on it really well here, where he basically touches on, a lot of people owe Kelly Oubre an apology. And I think that's true because a lot of people criticize him, and I think he is a polarizing player that the criticism can be fair. But he's been bought in on his role, played winning basketball across his Sixers tenure. He's been the glue to this current Sixers team, and I don't know if you can take him out of the starting lineup, Sean says, but I think obviously Paul George, money talks. He's going to be thrown in there most likely at the end of the day. But Kelly Oubre is still going to be a huge piece of this team down the stretch, and obviously there's a lot of basketball to be played still, but at the same time, it's a situation where he's out there every single night. Like, you know what you're getting out of him. You can count on 35 minutes, good hustle, at least double-digit points, rebounds, steals, assists, everything in between. And I think that's the best part about Kelly Oubre as well on this kind of team-friendly deal. So looking forward to seeing what he can do the rest of the season. There's a lot of basketball to be played. And there's guys on this team that are going to have the opportunity to earn some big deals, whether it's with the 76ers or not. You'll get Trendon Watford on a 2-year deal that's looking like a robbery right now after his triple-double the other night. Quentin Grimes, what does he command out on the open market? Does he want to come back to Philadelphia? I don't know if he wants to be, the third, fourth guard option. But I think Kelly Oubre has gotten to that point of his career where he's made some good money. I think he probably gets one more kind of big contract, and then he might get a couple minimums down the stretch of his career. But if he can land like a 3-year, 4-year deal making in between 8 to 12 million, I think that's probably what he's going to be eyeing up, and his ideal contract at the end of the day. Can the 76ers fit that into their cap space, fit that into their plans? That remains to be seen. What does Justin Edwards and his development look like the rest of this year? He's been a huge disappointment. If he takes a leap, do the Sixers consider letting Kelly Oubre, walk out the door? I think we're in a situation now. We'll see how the rest of the season goes, but they have to bring back Kelly Oubre and allow him to continue to do what he's done in this early part of the season, which has been one of the key pieces for the 76ers roster. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. As always, please drop a like, a subscribe, and we'll talk to you next time here on Sixers Digest.